Today we add a little bit of color to our medieval city by making some decorative trees and planters. So for this, we're going to use a couple of these. These are little craft sticks that I got from Michael's. We're also going to use some leftover scrap 1/4-inch foam that I had laying around. A few foam bricks that I've made in a previous episode. These are squares. And some pipe cleaners. This is going to be the trees. And a lighter, which I'll show you how I'm going to use later on in the video. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the planter boxes. So, I said planter box, what I should have said was we're going to be making some little planter beds, and I'm going to be using these. These are just over 1 inch wide by just under 3 inches long. So they're going to work pretty good for our grid that we've been using in the medieval city so far. I just quickly cut a piece of the foam, and I'm just trimming the edges with a utility knife here just to kind of make sure everything lines up with the edges of the wooden craft stick. Just a little bit more trimming, making sure it's kind of properly round, not quite so boxy. Alright, so now that my hot glue gun is heated up, we're going to affix the two together just like so. And then using our little foam bricks, we're going to start in the exact center on both sides and just place a single brick vertically on either side. And then we can go through the process of wrapping the bricks around, just placing them one or two at a time, removing any hot glue that kind of gets squeezed out as we go along. Now, I didn't plan this ahead of time, but it was sheer coincidence that I didn't have to trim down or squeeze in an extra brick, and it ended up lining up perfectly with the size bricks that I had. And these bricks are 10 millimeters by 10 millimeters, so if you end up getting these same craft sticks, these size bricks would work for you. Alright, so now we're going to seal it all in and seal it down with a little bit of paint mixed with Mod Podge. Now I'm using some Mars Black just so that I can really maintain any of the shadowed areas and kind of keep that dark recessed crevice look that I kind of like with all of the bricks and stonework that I've been doing. Alright, now while those are drying, we can go ahead and make some trees. Okay, so we're going to use some of these pipe cleaners. I bought them from Michael's in a bulk bag. You can kind of get them from a bunch of different craft stores. And as you can see, I've sped the video up a little bit. This did not take long at all. It took me maybe 5 minutes to make a single tree. I just bent the pipe cleaners in half, made sure to leave a little bit of space at the bottom, and then just started twisting them together to create a kind of twisted tree trunk. And then just kind of grabbed a few, twisted them together, and then grabbed a few more, twisted them together, and that's how I came up with the branches. Now the ends of the branches here, to keep them from kind of poking into players or myself as we're moving around the game table, I'm just bending them over and then giving them a final little twist to kind of hide that sharp pokey end. Alright, and now we're going to use our lighter in a very well ventilated place to melt all of the little fuzzy bits off of the pipe cleaners. Now the pipe cleaners themselves are made out of little kind of fuzzy plastic, so this isn't burning it off, it's melting it down. And what you end up with is a really nice, fairly rigid structure that looks remarkably like a tree trunk with a neat little pattern on it. And there we go, a quick, simple little tree. Alright, so now we can go ahead and get some painting. So now we're going to paint up our tree with a little bit of burnt umber. Now this is going to do two things. Because of the texture that the tree trunk and branches has, it's going to soak in a little bit into the remaining plasticky fuzz, and we're going to end up with a almost two-tone colored tree with no extra steps. So we're going to have some nice dark shadowy areas, and then we're going to have some slightly lighter raised areas. So that's going to make the painting job on this a whole lot simpler. Now, because the tree itself is made out of black pipe cleaners, this is going to dry a lot darker in shade, so we're going to have a nice kind of dark tree trunk. And I gotta be honest, I kind of liked how it came out. You can kind of see where it's starting to dry already, and we're getting this nice kind of deep brown color. And it looks really nice once it's fully dry. Now, these are really quick to put together and really quick to paint, and if you just needed them really fast for a tabletop game, you could stop right here. But I wanted them to have a little bit of extra color once it finished drying, so I did a dry brush of some raw sienna over the top and just really tried to only hit the raised edges to give it a little bit of extra color. And here you can really see what that kind of twisted, swirling pattern looks like on the trunk. Alright, while our trees are drying, let's grab some Artist Loft Gray and hit up all these bricks around the edge of the planter. Now I'm doing just a quick, simple overbrush on everything just to give it a nice gray shading, and we're going to keep all of those dark black shadowed areas. And then once that's dry, we're going to hit it up with a kind of a downward dry brush of some neutral gray, just to give it that, worked stone exterior brickwork look. Alright, so now let's go ahead and add some finishing touches and assembly. So I'm using this is called reindeer moss, and it is really nice for making leaves and bushes and things like that on this kind of scale. Now there is a downside, you can't quite see it yet, but my hands will start to get stained and colored a kind of a yellowish green. That's because all reindeer moss is dyed to stay this color all the time. There's nothing really you can do about it. All I'm doing here in the video is adding a little bit of hot glue and then grabbing the edges of the moss and kind of rolling it together to kind of cling the edges to the hot glue and create a little ball of moss, which I then use a little bit more hot glue to glue down onto the tree. And here I'm just kind of checking over the whole thing and making sure that nothing is loose, and if anything is, I just add a little bit more hot glue and press it down into the tree. Now, to kind of help with the moss not transferring color to fingers, I'm doing a little bit of a coating of some watered down Mod Podge. This didn't work out as nicely as I had hoped. It ended up not really doing anything in the long run. If I had some like spray sealant or something on hand, I definitely would have done that instead. It would have made the moss a little bit more rigid, but it also would have helped kind of prevent any color transfer. So if you have spray sealant, that would work better than what I'm doing here. Alright, so while that was drying, I decided to create a little bit of a uneven ground texture using some hot glue in the planter beds. And this isn't really super noticeable, but I wanted something that was a little bit more than just a flat surface. And as you can see, it's really fast to put this together. I wouldn't recommend doing this over a large piece of terrain because you're going to end up using a lot of hot glue. So now to stick everything down, it's just a little bit of hot glue across the bottom of the tree roots, press it down into the base, and we have our tree attached to our planter. Now, I had considered using some sand to coat the base, but what I'm going to do instead is spread a little bit of Mod Podge, and I'm going to add some just simple green flocking for ground cover, kind of make it look like there's a little bit of grass growing around the base of the tree. And I'm going to do this on top of a paper towel so I can collect any of the extras so that it doesn't go to waste. And there we go. Just like that, episode 7 is finished. Alright, so these were pretty quick to put together, but the color transfer on the moss is a little bit of an issue. Definitely recommend some spray sealant, but as you can see, they really help to put a lot of life into a terrain scene or kind of a cityscape like this. Definitely recommend. They're super fast to put together, super easy to work with, and they don't weigh anything, so they're nice to have on hand. So thank you everyone for watching. Please hit that like button, subscribe for future content, comment in the comments section, and we will see everyone next episode.